Hello folks, Jack back with another pre-intro for the second Sunday in a row. Yes, I think you know what this might mean. If today's video hits 750 likes in the first 8 hours it is live on YouTube, we'll have another episode coming up later today, a double upload day. You guys love these, I love them as well. This video that you're about to watch is a cracker. Going to be running through how I scout and find my non-league players. I know a lot of people have been asking about it. Little run through of it today. Hopefully you enjoy it. If there's more stuff you would like to see me cover, like we do in this video, in upcoming episodes, let me know. And well, without further ado, pass Jack, take it away. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 12 of Park to Prem, here with Towel or Town, and today it's a massive game in the FA Vase. It's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object as we take on Worcester City. We'll get to that in a second. Today I wanted to start on our manager profile. A few people have been asking about it, so here's a little update as to how things are looking. You can see some of the stuff we're known for. Much of it is signing young, high-rep players relative to our division. In terms of characteristics, media handling, not so good. I don't really tend to do the press conferences in Football Manager. I find them a little bit tedious, but everything else, bar I guess loyalty to players, is still rather strong. Managing finances is full. You might wonder, how is that the case, Jack? Your club is in a lot of debt. The reason for that is that we are sticking within the budgets that are set. If anything, it's our board members who have bad financial management, not me, which is, I guess, a relief that the game views it like that. In terms of attributes as well, you can see them here. Last year we did a coaching course to get our National C licence. That improved some of the coaching attributes, and additionally I think certainly the mentals, but the coaching attributes as well can just improve over time. You might remember when we started, all of our mentals were 1, I believe, except determination, which was 4. Some of these just naturally improve over time. Some of these improve based on how you enact. So the fact that my level of discipline is not so good is probably because I don't find players so much. I've not had the best interactions with players. Meanwhile, the motivation going up is just down to good team talks and good, general team management and happiness on and off the pitch. Little update on the dynamics, by the way, because things have changed a little bit. One player is unhappy. Harry Flatters, second choice goalkeeper, wants to play more. I gave him some chances. To be fair, he kept 2 clean sheets, but equally, a 6.73 average rating isn't particularly good. I'm coming to the conclusion that I feel like goalkeepers at this level in Football Manager just don't get good average ratings. In terms of the rest of the team here, David Vaughan is viewed as a team leader, Sonny Best, Ryan Ferguson and Romario Vieira, influential players. So there's slowly but surely a status quo emerging. I do feel a little bit bad for David Vaughan. He is very much the adult sat on the kids' table at a Christmas party or something. He's out on his own, doesn't really fit into anyone else. You got all the young lads having their fun on the table, and he doesn't feel relatable to them. The 37-year-old who hasn't played so much recently because we've had some superb performances actually in the centre of the midfield. Anyway, just a quick prelude to today's game. As well, this episode, I want to talk about how I sign players and how I've been scouting players and stuff, because we're getting to a point now in the season where I am already starting to think ahead to next year, and a lot of people have been asking about how I find players, what kind of scouting I've been doing, so I feel like that's worth covering today. But yes, Worcester City we have in the FA Vase. It's only the 4th round, which, there's still a way to go to make it all the way. If we just look at their kind of performances, I would argue that ourselves and them are the best 2 teams in our respective tiers. You can see they are first in the Midland League division. They're top. They've lost 2 games all year in the league, so they're going very, very strong. Just to compare that to our own record, after 25 games, we've lost 1. So you'd argue our record is a little bit better, but nevertheless, it's perhaps the 2 best teams at this tier of football. It's a bit of a shame we're meeting them as early as we are, and we have got a few injuries and suspensions to be wary of, which are going to play a little bit of an issue, I guess, when it comes to our team selection. But, well, we'll come to that in a second. Let's talk about the games since you were last here. Of course, last time out we took on Shildon. It wasn't an incredible performance by any means, but we got the win away from home in the FA Vase. And from there, you can see we've played a decent chunk of league games, as well as in the League Challenge Cup, where we beat Bishop Auckland 2-0. So, yeah, we're marching on in that. We're in the quarterfinals. Still a little way to go. The board expectation for both cup competitions we're in is to win them both. So the bar's been set quite high today. And I am feeling a little bit of the pressure going into this game against Worcester City, simply because although we've lost less games in the league, it's hard to get a good handle on, is their league better than ours? What is the overall standard of football like? For some teams, there's not a great deal of difference. For other teams and other leagues, there is quite a big difference in terms of overall quality. It's a bit of a venture into the unknown, really. Anyway, league games, you can see them here. Loughborough Uni, they're struggling in the league. We beat them 2-0. Cumwenda and Sunny Best with the goals there. Hebburn, we then took on away from home. Kit Elliott opening up the goal scoring. Chanka Zimba getting in on the action. And this guy has really stepped it up as of late. Zimba has kind of cemented himself as one of my starting centre mids, which might strike you as a little bit of a surprise. But his goal scoring escapades have been pretty impressive this year from a centre of the midfield, in truth. Anyway, we then took on Wycombe, not as convincing, but a 2-0 win nevertheless. Ryan Ferguson slowly getting back to fitness after that long-term injury he had. Kit Elliott getting his second goal in as many games. We then had that cup game where, as you can see, Zimba scored again and Cumwenda continues to be our top goal scorer, and well, he grabbed a brace in the next game against Shildon. I want to show you the highlights for this game. Two absolute bangers of goals. The first was by their player, Anthony Peacock, and then Max Haygarth for us scored a goal. Please let me know in the comments which goal you think is better, Peacock or Haygarth's. Max or Ant? Let me know. They were both absolute screamers. It was a 4-2 game. It was a pretty hardly fought match. But in the end, Cumwenda with some nice finishing and some good wing play down the right-hand side throughout the game saw us run out victors. They did score from the penalty spot at 3-2. It was a little bit nervy, but then Chanka Zimba maraudering up the pitch and slotting it into the bottom corner. And after that result, I was left checking if he had like a player-preferred move of getting further forward, just because the kind of run he made was something that I've not really experienced that much this year from a box-to-box midfielder. He doesn't, but yeah, great run by him, good performance. And then you can see here, two more league games. Penrith we played just after Christmas on Boxing Day. We didn't show any signs of being slowed down. Cumwenda with a hat-trick in that one. And then in our most recent game against Rye Hope, Ryan Ferguson with 2, Cumwenda with a goal as well. Good to see Ferguson getting back to goal-scoring ways, of course. Got a pretty serious hamstring strain injury. I almost said hamstring injury. Maybe I should just call it that for short. But yes, he's come back from that. He's done well. And while Cumwenda, 35 goals in all competitions, averaging more than a goal a game, this guy. And he's just signed a pre-contract that will take effect at the end of the year. So we've got no risk of losing him before the end of the season, which is a massive relief. And he is only the only player, I think, who we've signed this year who I've been able to get that kind of contract offered to. Anyway, we have got Worcester City, but before we get into that, I want to talk about finding players, because obviously I feel like one thing that we've done particularly well here at Towlaw is our recruitment, and that's very vital when you're in the lower leagues of English football. Naturally, when you go to the player search screen, if you've got no senior package like we have right now because we have no money, you don't really get a good grasp of who the good bad players are and who the bad players are, and you know what's really available. There's very limited use you can get out of this, particularly with a tribute masking on. You know, I can't tell how good these players are. So a lot of my recruitment has come through other means. So just a few of the filters that I like to use. The first one, international caps. Just set it to at least 1, see who comes up. When you're in the lower leagues of English football, if players get released, they might not be interested in joining you right away. But over the course of, 6 months, a year, sometimes just a few months into the season, if a player's failed to find a team, they become a lot more inclined to talk to you. So you can see here there's a few players. Enes, actually, you'll notice we have a scout report for. I've not actually ever scouted him. We gave him a trial a little while ago. And you can do this via, obviously, this screen here. And this is a lot cheaper than scouting a player at this level, just to offer players trials. In fact, if we just look at my ins and outs for transfer history and trials, you can just see the amount of players we've had on trials this year. A few of these players we've signed, some of them we haven't. The other advantage of offering a player a trial is it can sometimes lower their demand. So, for example, Connor Stanley, I've know a few people mention in the comments about the fact they've had him in the kind of Vanarama National Leagues, and a team hadn't picked him up, obviously, when we came a-calling, and I offered him a trial in the hopes that he would lower his demands. You can see here, he didn't join us until August time, so he'd kind of missed the start of the season, accepted that a team probably wasn't going to approach him. Of course, you can see he played for Stockport on trial. They didn't give him a contract at the end of the trial. He came to us. and obviously we gave him an offer. And by having a player on trial, it can help lower their demands. You can see Jermaine Anderson had a trial, Kit Elliott had a trial as well. In fact, you can see his trial started quite soon. That was due to some manual scouting, which we'll cover in just a second. And similarly, last year, I mean, you can see how many trials we had last year as we were kind of building a team and just scouting out what was available and who was available. You'll also notice there's some players here that have like a little player face icon. There's other players here, like Tom Herdman and also Metz here, who don't have that icon anymore. That just means they've retired from football. They never found a team. And when you're in the lower leagues like this, players definitely fall through the cracks. There's some very good players. Naturally, you know, you're going to have your wage constraints to work within. But yeah, you can really get good value out of using the player search here, just setting it to international caps. You can also change interested is to doubtful. Occasionally, a few more players will get thrown up here, which can be, you know, somewhat useful. Maybe there'll be players here who are considered unrealistic, but you could offer a trial to, such as Billy Bodin here, formerly of Preston, so a local team to us. We could maybe offer him a trial. I doubt I'd want to sign him, but it saves me having to pay money to scout him. And the fact he's got an international cap for Wales probably means he isn't going to be the worst player in the world. There was also this guy who, I'm going to butcher the name. We'll just call him Kagossi because that's easier. Great centre-back, incredible centre-back. You can see here, formerly of Peterborough, played for Scunthorpe last year in League Two. No one has signed him, and we're now in January. So his expectations have dropped massively. Unfortunately, and I think this is going to be the case, he was asking for about £3,000 previously. So you can see his appearance fee demands have dropped. Obviously, it's still 10 times what we could ever offer him. But he is actually interested in now discussing things with us, simply because no other team is wanting to talk to him. He's the kind of player who I'll keep tabs on. There's a pretty good chance he'll retire before he ever lowers his demands to what we can afford. But yeah, definitely just keep an eye on players. You might have noticed looking through the trial list, there were a lot of players that I'd looked at repeatedly. Another thing I like to use is the homegrown is and then trained at club, and then just start searching teams around you. And when you're in the lower leagues, location becomes a big thing for players. They won't want to join a team who aren't close to them. You might remember last year, before we took the job at Towlaw, I talked about the option of maybe going to Falmouth, but the fact the location wasn't going to be particularly good. The great thing about Towlaw is there's lots of teams considered in our catchment area. So, for example, we have a lot of players from Leeds United, right? So we can go here, search Leeds United, and these are all players who were trained at Leeds United at some point in their youth career. Now, there's some really old players here, and I feel weird saying that because I'm closer to 33 than I am 19. But there's some really old players here, and there's also some younger players. So, for example, Tyler Bell, 12 to 18 finishing. It's hard to tell how good he might be. But obviously, he's been at Leeds for a couple of years. He then actually played the league below us, so maybe I'm not so keen on him. But you could basically start looking through the players, and you start to get a good idea of which teams are within your catchment area. So obviously, I had to do a lot of trial and error to begin with. But now, just by going through the team, you can see teams like Birmingham, Nottingham Forest, Leeds United, Blackburn, Carlisle, Peterborough, Manchester United, obviously, we've made massive use of. You can see a lot of the teams repeat. Preston, Huddersfield are considered in our catchment area of team players who are interested in joining us. And what you can really do is you could just go through all of these. So, for example, we've signed a few players from Manchester United. Last time I checked, there weren't any new players listed, but maybe there'll be some who haven't found clubs after 6 months and are now interested in joining us. So, for example, James Weir here, never heard of him, not that familiar with him, was at Bolton, actually. You can see he played a few games in League One last year for Bolton. May have been even released halfway through the year. I can just offer this guy a trial. And sometimes you'll hit gold and sometimes you'll hit absolute duds doing this. Often, I kind of take a punt on it. You know, I might not want to linger around and wait for scouting to come in. But other times, you know, you can take your time a little bit more. Especially during pre-season, it's a little bit more urgent. You know, there's lots of people very interested. You can see here, Stuart Weir, who's a region, actually, he was released by Preston. I'm kind of tempted to get a scout report on him. I mean, I probably shouldn't have scouted him. I probably should have offered a trial. That's my instinct, just to scout without thinking about the money consequences of that taking effect. But yeah, just doing this manual searching is definitely worth doing, and you'll get a pretty good idea of which teams you can, you know, approach the players of. So, for example, Huddersfield, former Premier League team, there might be some good players here. You can see a few of them are already playing for clubs. You'll notice that some of these are scouted, and this comes down to something that I was doing last year, and I recommend that you do. So, I really should make a text document for myself of all the teams that I know I should go and check out, because that would be a good start. But one thing that you can definitely do as well is go to Manchester United in this case here, look at their under 13s, no, they're under 23s, that's a slip of the tongue, and you can see here some players with contracts listed as expiring this year, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add these guys. I'm going to make a new shortlist, actually. I'm going to call this shortlist, what shall we call it? New shortlist, we'll call it 2021 expiry. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to look through all those teams that we just mentioned, like Manchester United, and I'm just going to add all of these players to a shortlist. Now, some of these players are going to have their contracts renewed, right? That's kind of par for the course. You kind of just have to accept that that's going to be a thing. But there's a relatively good chance that some of these players won't sign new contracts. They will be released by these big clubs. And whilst they're probably not going to be interested in joining me right away, a few months into the season, I can look at this shortlist and I should have a pretty comprehensive list of players who may well be interested in joining us. Obviously, sometimes you'll find a load of players, sometimes you'll find none. But these are all players who, if their contracts aren't renewed, they're going to be pretty good free transfers for us at this level. And obviously, you can just keep tabs on these guys. It's a bit like a phone book of players who may become available. Obviously, we're now in January, so if these players are going to be offered new contracts, they'll be coming in the next few months. As players get offered contracts, obviously, I could just have it on contract view. If I see a player's expiry date go up, I'll just remove them from this shortlist. But yeah, to be honest, this is something that I should definitely be making use of. Going through all those teams that I know are in and around me and making a list of these players. And you know what? I don't think any of these would be interested in joining us. Apparently, 2 of them would be interested in joining us right now. Joe Kelly and Sam Collins. I mean, Sam Collins? 20 technique, maybe? I mean, we'll get a scout report on him. Why not? But yeah, you can just start to approach to sign and maybe pick up some very good players here come the end of the year. And obviously at the end of May, I want to say, it may even be the end of April, Premier League teams and teams across England announce the young players whose contracts they're not renewing for the next year. So it's at that point then that you can start to really, scout out and spot out these players. But yeah, they're just a few of the ways that I've been going about recruiting players. That shortlist method isn't something I've done, actually. What I did last year was I just scouted all the players, which is why if we just look at our scouting centre, a load of these recommendations are players from teams in and around us. And that's because I manually scouted a load of them, when I saw their contracts are running out at the end of the year, but I didn't do it until March time. So maybe this year, being even more prepared will get us even better results. But yes, essentially the way I like to think of it is I'm ringing up all the academies going, who might you not keep on next year? And then we just keep a tab on them. But yeah, I feel like that hopefully helps you guys out. I know a lot of people are copying this save and, maybe trying to replicate the journey, do something with a slightly different team. But that's how I've been going about finding my young players anyway. Right, I realise if you don't play Football Manager, that last bit may have been a little bit tedious, but stick with me now because we're going to get into some match action. And you can see our team here. So in goal, we've got Stratham or Stratham. I think it's Stratham or Stratham. Still not decided. The comment section really gets annoyed when I say it incorrectly. It's Stratham, I'm pretty sure. So he's in goal. I've said his name for the first time correctly ever. And then we get to a bit of a situation because Donnelly Blackburn not fit enough to play the full match. Deshaun Bernard suspended. Joe Robson suspended as well. So we're missing quite a few big players for us here. Also, I've just noticed we can have a few extra players on the bench because it's 7 players for this competition on the subs. So yes, at the back, it's a bit of a makeshift feel. Obviously, Jolly comes in at left back over Donnelly Blackburn, who can't play the full game today. Right back is going to be Lewis Earle. This guy has played for the most part this season at centre back, but I do rate him as a good defensive option at right back, even if we just look at him as a winger on support. He's got 3 off the ball, 4 passing, 3 technique, 4 first. He's not a wing back, but he's going to have to play there today. We'll see what he can do for us. In the centre back positions, we've got James Piercy alongside long-term servant at the club, Sam Greenwood. Look at him. He's so happy. I want to say his discipline's improved this year. He's got 5 yellow cards in 15 games because he's played significantly less this year. But nevertheless, still a very, very good player for this level. In the centre of the midfield, this has become my go-to pairing, actually. Max Haygarth, who... he's the Tom Brady of the non-league, the Pirlo of the non-league, the player who just pings the ball with either foot, with a wand of a foot, to players on ahead. And alongside him, we've got Zimba, who... he loves his Zumba. Some people have said I should call him Simba, or because of the Lion King, and it's close. I don't... nickname suggestions, please, for Zimba. I was tempted to nickname him Mufasa, because he's just like a leader of the pack in the middle. I feel like Simba is too on the nose. Anyway, let me know. I don't want to get sued by Disney. At right mid, we have Sonny Best playing for us, still doing his absolute utmost. Most assists this year in the team with 17. Stanley is going to play on the left. He's got 13 assists in all competitions, so he's quickly catching up. And up top, we're going to go with Kumwenda. And alongside him, I'm sticking with Ryan Ferguson. I know there's some of you in the comment section saying, Ryan Ferguson is rubbish, stop playing him. Look, he gets goals for us. We just compare him to Usama. There's a bit of a gulf in quality difference. But nevertheless, I want to stick with our little postman. I'm loyal to my postmen. Anyway, on the bench, we've got Kit Elliott and Usama, so some great attacking options there. Roy Loy, we're going to give him a chance. He's not played much this year at all, the 32-year-old, but maybe that's for the best. He offers us an experienced head in the team, and obviously we've got Romario Vieira on the bench, who's been dislodged by Zimba. If we just compare these two guys, just to give you a rough idea, Zimba, just a little bit more quick, I guess, a little bit better in the air, and just been the better performer out of the two players, to be honest, this season. But anyway, let's get into this. Worcester City, this isn't going to be an easy game, anyone. If you're going into this thinking this is going to be another walkover, I am nervous about this game because they're going so strong in their league. As I mentioned earlier, it's maybe a little bit hard to gauge exactly how we stack up against them, simply because what I've learned from this lower league database is there are some teams that are very, very strong and some leagues that are stronger than other leagues at the same level. I feel like for us, we would back ourselves to win this game. I think we were the favourites. According to the Preston Well Sonny Best, that's the start you want to see. The two long-term servants, the fan favourites. As I ramble away, they're not rambling away. They're getting straight into this. The throw-in on the left-hand side. Stanley doing a little bit of work with Jolly, who whipped it in, headed away by Sorensen, but not the best header. Sonny Best passed into his feet, turns round his man, slots it into the bottom corner. Oh, let's please. I hope that's a sign of things to come. And well, deja vu, another throw-in on the left. Jolly, can he get the ball in again? He pings it in. Phelan holds on to it. I thought for a second the keeper was going to drop it. Worcester City now looking to maybe hit us on the break. They've got Yeomans playing the ball forward to Wood. They're committing men in the attack here as Sonny Best nips it off his man. And look how quick Sonny Best is. Run like the wind. The non-league Neymar going on his own. Can he finish it? No. Phelan makes a good little stop to stop what would have been an absolutely incredible wonder goal by Sonny Best. He just did his little thing, didn't he? Running down the right wing, cutting inside onto his left foot. This time denied. A set piece to deal with here. The header loops over. And I'll tell you what, Worcester, they're not messing about. They're not hanging back. They're not going to be the punching bag. They're having, a few chances and a good chunk of possession in our half in all these highlights we've seen so far. Manning with it. We press high. We press hard. They might beat the press here. Piercy heads it out to Zimba, who pings it forward. Look at that ball to Ryan Ferguson. Show me why I started you, Ryan. He hits it straight at the player. Would Usama have scored? We'll never know. Oh my gosh, Kumwenda probably should have scored as well. That was two chances in quick succession. A fantastic save. Phelan right now is keeping them alive and in it. And that cross has missed absolutely everyone. And Kumwenda, he's come away with it. Sonny Best, not known for his heading ability, tried to leap there. Not physically got the gene to jump. Wow, that could have been a very awkward own goal. Apparently the referee did play an advantage. So it wouldn't have counted if it had gone in off their defender. And while they lump it forward, and we get the ball. At the moment, we look good defensively. Oh my gosh, go on, Ryan. Finish it this time. Ryan, you've missed two now. And you missed a few last time as well. He gets camera shy. I think it's the FA Vase. It's the big occasion that gets to him. Stanley whips the ball in. Zimba, he didn't try and get there, but he's kept it in. And kept it in for them, unfortunately. Sorensen with the ball at the back. Lumps it forward to Wood. Oh my gosh, not like this. Can we get back and defend it? Strayham. Or Stratham, help me. It's Statham. It's Statham. There's no R in the name, Jack. Why do I need a nickname, everyone. Come up with a nickname. Maybe just call him the goalkeeper. Or Mike. Mike might be a better name. I don't know why I struggle with it. You'd think English wasn't my first language. Oh my gosh. Stanley with a... I don't know if that was a shot or a cross. It didn't go far wide. It's Statham, Jack. Statham. I need to record myself saying it and then like have an audio clip of me just repeatedly saying it and listen to it as I fall asleep at night. It might be the only way to help me. It's how I went from saying Tolaw to Towlaw. It's not, to be clear. I'm not that incompetent. He says, having got his goalkeeper's name wrong for the entirety of the season so far. Right now we're on top in this game, but it's a one-goal game and they have created chances and they are in possession here, which leaves me a little nervous. Although Jolly wins it. Kumwenda, get on that, my friend. He beats his man to it. The keeper again. Phelan, can you stop making these saves? Maybe I need to sign Phelan from them. I don't think he'd want to join us because of the distance, but he's made more saves than I've seen all my keepers make in the last season and a half in goal for them. And the game still only gives him a 6.8, bless him. 1-0 at the break. I mean, they're still in it. I'm going to tell the boys I'm far from pleased. I mean, Ryan Ferguson has a better rating than Kumwenda. I think that's purely because of his one assist. Anyway, got a little bit shouty with the midfield. We've not been good enough in that area of the pitch, but we have our noses ahead. I want to win the FA Vase. This has a bit of a cup final feel about it. No, my luck, we'll get beaten by like one of the teams who's like bottom of their league in the next round. At least right now we're doing well though, as Ryan Ferguson gets it off the defender. Questionable defending, non-league defending. Ryan, is this your moment? That is what we needed. 20 for the season. Never doubted him. And well, I think a lot of the blame has to go on their defender there. McCone. I mean, he keeps it in and then Ryan's just on him. If only the fans had shouted man on, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Nice little finish as well. That's not the easiest spot to place that into the bottom corner from. Thinking about making some subs, but we'll wait and see what becomes of this highlight. Manning with it. Getting it forward. Burns turns his man. Jolly wins it, but he's on a booking. Be careful, Jolly. Ryan skips past his man. Hits it again. I mean, that wasn't as good a chance, to be fair, but it was an opportunity to score that he's missed. Right. Hour gone. Let's bring in Usama. I'm going to take off Kumwenda, who's been surprisingly quiet. And we'll also bring in Kit Elliott, I think. Sam Greenwood's got a yellow card. Normality has been resumed. I don't know why he likes yellow cards so much. I think he just likes the colour yellow. Just makes him happy inside. They've lumped the ball forward here. What is happening? Oh my gosh, I thought we were about to have a calamitous communication error between the back line and Mike in goal. Piercy. Forward to Zimber. Now with Haygarth. Trying to get the ball forward but intercepted. Although he gets back on that ball there. I love the hunger to get these second balls from Zimber and Haygarth. And now Kit Elliott. What can he do? Oh my god. I mean, if it goes in, I'll lose my mind. It hasn't gone in. He's done that quite a few times this season. It's why he's been demoted to the bench as of late. Zimber just feels like he's involved in everything. Gives it to Jolly. Now with Kit Elliott. Hits it straight at the keeper. At least he's hit the target this time. He's progressing. The next effort he has is probably going to go into the top corner. By the law that he's slowly but surely progressing. Although they've got a chance here. They're through. Mike's made a save. Almost tried to say his name again. We'll just call him Mike. It's easier. Good stop, Mike. They've had 2 shots all game. 2 clear-cut chances, though. And both times our keeper's been up to the task. Could we hit them on the break here? Go on, Kit. Plays it forward to Ryan Ferguson, who actually isn't outpacing a player, which feels unusual. That's what he does best, just outpacing players at the back. "13 minutes left. I mean, if they get a goal now, it's not comfortable. We should have killed this tie off, and we haven't. Rayner now with it. Devine lumps it forward. Oh my gosh. Not like this. Mike, I mean, he stops another. You'd have to say they've had 3 great chances, Worcester. They could very easily be 3-2 up here, and it's only through some nice goalkeeping and some calamitous striking that we're still ahead. As Sorensen has an effort, how's that not gone in? It's still not... Get it out! This is the most nervous I felt all year. The chances are very, very even. We've dominated the game if you were just to look at the raw stats, but they've had chance after chance after chance. One last one maybe with 30 seconds left. I think we have weathered a storm towards the end of the game. You can see 4 clear-cut chances for them, 5 for ourselves. We were definitely not impenetrable. And well, Zimba, he's just doing Zimba things. Oh, you thought he was going to add to his collection. He scores from there very often. Unfortunately, on this day, he's not. I wonder if it comes down to his physicals being so good that at the end of games, he always just has that extra burst of pace to get forward. That might well be the thing that really sets him apart. I do feel like his goals typically come later in games. Either way, Mike's had a great gaming goal, well played, and we've won 2-0 in what was a real test. That is not an easy game whatsoever. We have got the FA Vase 5th round draw. We are still quite a way off the final. And we're only in January, which feels weird to say because if we just look at the league, we've only got, I think, 11 games left of the season. 11 games left of the season is mad. In January, we're so far into the season, it's weird. I guess all the fixtures are scheduled sooner, anticipating waterlogged pitches and snowed off matches. And, well, luckily for us, the weather's been kind and games haven't had to be delayed for such reasons. We go marching on. Massive, massive win. Good team performance as well. Nice to see Ryan Ferguson, even if he did miss a few, doing quite well. You can see some of those players we offered trials to. They're now going to join us for 4 weeks. I have no idea if we're going to sign any of them, but we'll take a look at them. You can see Kendra Simmons has had an offer made for him by Sunderland, who are in the Championship. We had him last year at Larne, this guy. Good striker. But you can see here, Sunderland are trying to sign him for £16,000. If we were in kind of the Vanarama National League, we could probably make an offer for this guy. We might not be able to match his wage demands, but like just through this manual scouting and keeping an eye on things, I kind of almost want to make an offer and see if he'd be interested in talking to us. But I don't think the chair lady would appreciate that considering the current financial situation. Anyway, you can see some of the scout reports coming in. So James Weir here could improve a lot. Potential League 2 centre mid. When players first join on trial, you won't be able to see what they're all about, but over time, you know, slowly but surely, the attributes that they have will be revealed. So, you know, we can keep them here for a little while and see what becomes of them. And, well, let's have a look at the FA Vase, shall we? I'm just going to hit draw all teams. We've drawn against Concept. I love that. Our local rivals. When is that game? It's on the 6th of February. It's in a month's time. We have to come back for that, don't we? Well, maybe we'll do a double header next time. Maybe we'll do the FA Vase 5th round and then another game after, maybe the 6th round, depending on when it is, maybe something else, but I feel like this competition is our focus, and I love the fact we've got our local rivals. That's the pick of the draw, as far as I'm concerned. Going to be difficult again away from home, but we have a good reputation against them. I want to get one over on our fierce rivals. We don't like them, and well, that'll be coming your way next time. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you're doing one of these saves like this, just me talking about how I've been scouting out players and finding players has been useful. If it has, let me know in the comments. Maybe you've been doing things slightly differently. Always open to, you know, new ways to play the game, learning stuff from you guys. Occasionally people drop nuggets of knowledge I had no idea about. And it's very, very useful. So if you have any of those, send them my way. But yes, that's all from me. Drop a like if you've enjoyed. I'll see you again tomorrow. And it is me, Jack. And I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.